As you enter into a CEO transition, I would encourage you to set up 3 different roles within the CEO transition so that you're clear who's doing what. 2 of them relate to the board and 1 of them relate to the staff. So let me walk through all 3 of them. The board. The board will always hold the approval authority of the next CEO. But to get them there, it is strongly encouraged that the board actually sets the vision for the next CEO. This doesn't mean that they have to do all the wordsmithing on a job description, but what they need to do is to make sure it's clear what kind of leader are we looking for to run this organization for the next period of time. You might think about that in a 5 to 10-year horizon. So the board is really going to set that vision and actually hold that approval making authority. Next, I would suggest that the board actually set up a very distinctive committee for the governance oversight of the transition. This might be one of the current committees. Maybe you give it an expanded terms of reference for the Human Resources Committee, or you set up an ad hoc committee only to do this. And this committee is really making sure that the board has a transition plan in place and that the board's transition plan actually matches the activities of the staff below. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Because at the end of the day, the board has some distinctive things that it can and should do with respect to the CEO transition. And you want to keep oversight to make sure the whole system that comes around that new leader is ready and working well once they arrive. So the final group to put in place is an internal transition committee. I often will call this the launch team. The idea is this is the group that actually deals with the detailed operational administrative parts about getting ready for a CEO change. That can be everything from IT to administrative paperwork to actually making sure somebody has a security pass to communications to briefings. And so there's a whole bunch of work here, but these are really the group that's going to mobilize all the fine details. And when you're there, the Go team, you want to make sure you know what this plan is and that it's going well. All of these people probably know how to run a project, either in their respective roles or from their careers. So when we think of a leadership transition as a big project, now people start to take down their anxiety and say, okay, well, what's the whole project plan, which is called the transition plan? Who's developing it, who's approving it, and who's implementing it? You can use whatever tools you want. Oftentimes, we encourage our clients to actually use a RACI approach, which means who is responsible, who's going to do most of the work on it, who's accountable, as in who has the final say on something, who's consulted along the process, and who's informed along the process. So you might use a RACI, you might use something different, but the idea is to have clear roles, clear responsibilities, and clear tasks. And of course, measure them and report back, because at the end of the day, the buck stops with the board. You've either had a great CEO transition or something needs your attention so that you don't, in fact, have a CEO transition failure. Think of this as a strategic process that will set your organization up for long-term success.